welcome to the show. We're here today. We're going to be talking about customer experience and how that is such a critical role in achieving conversion excellence. So today, my guest is Virgil Ghic. Is that how you pronounce it? Ghic?
That's perfect. Yeah.
Nailed it. With
I've been in the world.
We Supply Labs. Do you go by We Supply or We Supply Labs? That's been a question.
We supply.
Okay. So
Yeah,
would you please share?
Find the domain name.
I know what you do, but would you please just provide a quick breakdown of We Supply Labs?
Sure. So at We Supply, we basically help e-commerce businesses as well as retailers to deliver an Amazon-like experience.
Yes, I'm so glad you led with that, because that is exactly why we're here, is that the Amazon experience, we did a customer poll, not our customer, shopper poll, and 65% of the customers said they're going to be doing their holiday shopping on Amazon. As we talk about retailers competing against Amazon, well, you have to understand your competitor and understand why they're beating you, and you have to figure out how to replicate and improve upon those experiences. When it comes to Amazon, everyone shops Amazon. And the reason people shop Amazon is, you hear it time and time again, they make it so damn simple to buy. Exactly. So what we've been doing is really breaking down what that experience is that makes it so damn simple and easy. And let's work to replicate that on your website. And this is why I'm so happy for our audience, why you're here today, is when you go on Amazon, shipping continues to be the number one reason people don't check out on a website. And it's not just shipping costs, it's the communication factor. It's that customer experience. If I'm on a website, if I'm on Amazon, I go there because I know they tell me when it's going to ship. I'm confident in what they tell me. It's free most of the time. If not free, people are willing to pay to get expedited, especially during the holidays.
Correct.
Then there's a whole nother aspect, which, unless you've been a retailer and been in the trenches and understand that it's not, once the order is placed, it doesn't stop there. You have to communicate everything through that customer all the way till it gets to that doorstep. And once it gets to the doorstep, it's not over. They don't like the package. Is it going to be easy to return? With Amazon, you can go to a UPS store and drop it off. It's the logistics, the operations of retail that, me personally, having been a former retailer, we operated a 100,000 square foot facility. I never want to see inventory again. I never want to deal with the operations. Like, your whole world, what you provide, there's a lot to it, a lot of logistics. So with that lead in, I love everything that you're doing. So
thank you.
Can you please share? Would you mind just sharing a quick background on how you started, took this passion of making this customer experience with what we just discussed?
Yeah, sure. So a few years ago, about 10 at this point, time just flies by. I used to work for a retailer. It's called Ghic USA, and they had another sister company, Ghic. They got acquired. Now it's called Snipes and Atmos. They're in the footwear lifestyle industry. Very similar to, how's it called? Foot Locker, basically.
Okay.
And we had, at that point, about close to 100 stores, throughout East Coast.
100?
Philadelphia, New Jersey, New York area. And we were rapidly growing. And I was basically the second hire on the digital team, basically to build out the e-commerce website. I was hired as a developer at that point.
They're like, hey, we need a website.
Yeah, pretty much. And they're like, we need a website. We have these two brands, help us out. I'm like, yeah, sure. So I did my best, to build it out, to get that started. And everything went very well because we had such a huge support from the retail side. We grew exponentially.
What year was this?
10 years ago, 2003, 4, something like that. Oh no, so 2013.
Funny how that is.
Yeah.
I mean, and which platform did you put them on?
Magento.
Yeah, they were the kings back then.
Yeah, and it was even Magento one.
Yeah.
So we had a ton of issues, but it was fun, like we built it out fast. I built many other businesses prior to that, and it was really great. And we grew exponentially. Like within like 6 months, we hit 1 million. Within, like first year, it just grew. Like after like a few years, we were like in many, many millions, and we were dealing with a ton of customers, and the customers wanted their products basically as soon as possible, right? And the biggest challenge was we didn't have a centralized location to send out all the packages. Like the shipments were, like the products were at the stores, right? You can't have from each style of footwear, all the size selection, everything, in one location. It was at every store you had a few items, right? But that was a nightmare because we had to have the really good order routing, to route at the correct store that has the inventory. We had to make sure the inventory was there and all that. No,
And
crazy.
customers weren't pulling that inventory from the store.
Yeah, exactly. So as soon as an order was coming, let's say you're buying a t-shirt, pants, and 2 shoes, that order can be shipped from 4 different locations, 4 different packages. So at that time, customer service, after every weekend, they had like over 5,000 customer support tickets. Like the number one question was always, where's my order? When do I get my products? I received one product. When do I get the rest of them? So that was a ginormous headache, like at that point in that company, we had like over 60% of the questions, just order related, like, when do I get it? That was the number one question. And, ever since, it drives me crazy. Like I never order, if I find if I want to buy anything, let's say this mouse, right? I want to buy a mouse and I can go to Logitech and buy it from their website, or I can go to Amazon. I'm going to go to Amazon because I know I'm going to receive it. I know when I'm going to receive it, especially if it's something that you want to use over the weekend or now for the holidays. You don't want to risk, this whatever website, really cool, but who knows what they have behind the scenes to ship out your products. You want it by Friday, you want it by Christmas, not the day.
And as a consumer, you want to support that brand.
Yeah, you want to,
but
that's a bonus. Yeah, I don't care about the brand, I care about myself, and I'm not selfish. That's how we operate. Like,
I mean, look, my Blue Yeti mic, I specifically bought it directly from them to test the experience. To just
I have the same microphone. I didn't even wait for Amazon. I went to Best Buy and picked it up myself.
Well, and that's where you talk about customer experience, having the in-store locator on websites is another thing. It's like people are willing to be like, look, I need this today, right now. I'm willing to go down to Best Buy, but do they have it? If you're on the brand's website, it's part of the customer experience, location.
And if I can't get it from local, so this is my chain of decision. Yeah. If I can find it local within like 10 minutes driving, I go and pick it up local. If I can't do that, then I'm gonna look it up on Amazon. If Amazon is not available and I can only buy it from the retailer itself, like whatever the brand it is, I first check if I can find another product that's very similar on Amazon. And if everything fails, then I go to the actual company.
Okay. Option one, local.
I am messed up, but that's how I operate. And many people operate the same way. That's the problem.
It's how consumers operate. And it's why 65% of consumers are going to be shopping through Amazon. And it's also why for me, it's Sunday night is my recycling trash night. It's why we now loathe our trash days, is because we're breaking down boxes for half an hour and we were looking at all this waste. So, but that is our job. Our job is number 3. Our job is to help retailers understand how to replicate that Amazon experience, so you can win. You can win that sale on your site. And why does the retailer care about winning that business on their site? Comes into owning their customer.
Exactly.
Customer data. And also with Amazon, Amazon, you go on Amazon, it's the Amazon. It's the world's largest. They have not just that your product that your brand owns, but right next to it, it's probably the one they're making now, or it's all the competition. So you potentially could lose a sale. So getting back to number 3, we'll call it, I mean, think about it. Is it, Amazon's biggest river in the world? Well, retailers as a whole, Amazon won't live without brands and innovators creating new products and DTC brands. It's our job to help them even expand further. So, whether it's with the largest ocean, Pacific project or Everest project, whatever it is, that's what we have to in 2023, as we finish up 2022 here, the MarTech stack around this customer experience is what we're exploring and what this show is about. So I want you to be shopping. I mean, we both have companies that we do this, and I feel guilty when I shop Amazon, but there's a reason. So
Yeah.
let's get back to educating our customers on what they should be doing. And that's why I love We Supply Labs. Like, can we start with your product and I want to show this, it's you guys call it estimated delivery rates. This is where it starts, because you have to win the sale first. So
let me add something here. It's not because we believe it's important. It's not because it looks good. It's not because Amazon does it and it's so cool. It's because Amazon educated the customers already to look for that information. They educated the people to look for that little widget on your website next to the add to cart button that says order within the next 25 minutes or whatever, 2 hours, to get it tomorrow, to get it by Friday, to get it next week. And it doesn't really matter what you say there, the date, honestly. The date is important if you need it right now, but communicating with the customer and being transparent about it is the most important.
We understand what you expect. And that's even with the returns too.
That's the
expectations, it's like we respect what your needs as a consumer. And in the back of the consumer's mind, they're already processing like, oh, what if I buy this and I don't like it? Is this going to be a pain to return? Do you know there's 2 sets of people right now? People that will just not return something just because it's too much of a hassle.
That's me most of the time.
And the ones that are like, fine, I'll print it out. They go through a little rigmarole and hope they get it back within 30 days or whatever it is. That's a problem.
Yeah.
Because especially as the market comes down, I won't use the word recession quite yet. It's like, as people start controlling their costs more at work and home, this excess waste is going to stop and people are going to become even more frugal. So, communicating the return experience. And so We Supply Labs, I like the word labs because you guys are this lab trying to build out these tools and features and testing to help these retailers. So other than the estimated delivery, can you share, and we talk about, what information that should be communicated? What are some of the key ones that our audience should be kind of taking note of?
Yeah. So from my perspective, and we are where we actually help retailers, is if you have physical locations, show the customer where the customer can actually pick it up. If that store is nearby, how far it is, do they have the product in the inventory? That I think is crucial. If you can't pick it up at the physical location, then when it's going to take, how long it's going to take you to ship it, when it's going to arrive. Actually, this is really important because most brands, they think about, oh, but I'm showing already ships in whatever, 3 days or whatever, shipping time overnight. Yeah, great, it's overnight, but you have a holiday, you have a weekend, you have a working day. When are you actually going to ship it out? What's your processing time? And the customer doesn't want to do all this math in their head, like, oh, it ships out Monday. Okay, cool. Then how long is it going to take to receive it? How long it's going to take UPS, whatever, FedEx, to ship it. So I'm gonna receive it Friday or Thursday. Wait, it's Thanksgiving. Do they ship on Thanksgiving? Okay, so am I gonna get it after Thanksgiving? But I'm gonna go and meet up with my family, and I want to bring this gift, to my grandpa. Am I gonna get it by Thanksgiving or not? Like customer doesn't care processing time. They don't care about your shipping methods, shipping time. They care when they receive the product. Like, honestly, that's the most important. Do I get it before Thanksgiving to take it to the party or not?
And can I trust this information they're giving me?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Speaking of which, so
Mhm.
behind the scenes, how is a retailer setting this up with, their inventory, location, etc.? Obviously, Amazon has their whole distribution facilities. What's it look like for a retailer? How are they setting that up so it is accurate?
That's the hardest part, because it has so many variables behind the scenes. You need to have accurate inventory information. You might think you have 10 products, right, in the warehouse and 2 at the store level, but you might not have anything at the store level, or at the store level the products are damaged, right? So very accurate inventory information with safety stocks, etc. Then you need to know, where are you shipping it out from? It's one, if you're from California, I can ship it from the closest location and get there, much faster. Or I can ship it from all the way to East Coast and ship it all the way to California. So
Are you able,
products are located as well.
we used to have a facility in Sacramento, and we knew we could get to the Bay Area next day on ground shipping. So we would promote, buy your snowboard today, get it tomorrow, free.
Yeah. But you need to know if the inventory is there and if you have inventory at that location. So it's inventory accuracy by location. That's one of the biggest challenges, honestly. Many companies have distribution centers all over the place, but the inventory is not there. And it's the reality, no, it's not accurate. Most of the time it's not accurate.
What's your thoughts around, so let's talk shipping. There's, free ground shipping. When we talk about sales conversions and promotions, the ability to offer expedited shipping. Do you have the calculations to know that you can say, hey, get free next day shipping if they're within the cost of ground shipping, next day ground shipping?
Yeah, absolutely. So the way we solve this, basically behind the scenes, we have a ginormous algorithm, that calculates processing time by location, by days, by sales velocity, etc. And as soon as we have that, we look at the locations that you have it available. We then estimate approximately how long it's going to take you to process that order, because everybody thinks in 24 hours they process orders. That's not true. Then we look at how long it's going to take, for the carrier to actually ship it to that location. So is it going to be to ground shipping, that's 3 days or maybe 2 days? Is it going to be overnight? Is it going to be something very economical? It might be 6 days, to ship it. So we determine that, and the customer can choose, which option they want, and they can see the ETA of arrival, just like on Amazon in the cart, faster shipping, it costs you this much, arrives tomorrow.
And so how are you communicating this to the customer through, I've made a purchase. What's the communication, that customer experience that you feel is critical?
Basically, just like on Amazon, on the product page, in the cart and in the checkout. So just like you have on the product page, you have like approximately how long it's going to take. In the cart, you can have it recalculated as well. Again, maybe you have different products. They might be shipped together. They might be shipped in different boxes, as well as in the checkout section, where we know exactly your address. We know exactly at that point, your shipping method that you might want to select, how many packages you're going to receive. And it can be actually calculated very, very accurately when the product is going to arrive. And just like on Amazon, we don't have to reinvent the wheel, because if you reinvent the wheel, you have to re-educate the customer. The customer is already educated by Amazon. They are just looking for the same info at the same spot.
We're working to replicate the Amazon experience, the Pacific experience. what are we calling it?
Reinvent it.
I know you're on the East Coast.
Quite well.
I know you're on the East Coast. We're not going to call it the Atlantic experience. I took the notes of what information is the customer looking for.
Mhm.
What other information are they looking for?
Yeah, so as soon as they place the order, you want to restate like, okay, hey, you place this order, you might get it in multiple packages or one package, and you're gonna receive it by Friday, with the exact date. Not it's gonna take you 3 days, to ship it or bullshit like that. It's gonna arrive by Friday. And after that, throughout all the communication. So most of the companies are basically sending out an order confirmation. Then you might receive a tracking number. And if the tracking number on Shopify is a little bit better because they have like a better experience. But if it's any other website, you might just get the tracking number and go figure it out. And if yours, that's a horrible experience,
Yeah, they just send you a FedEx like templated email.
Oh, you know what's even worse? When you receive an email from FedEx.
Yeah.
And it says your tracking number, and it says, the business and it's whatever.
And it's like,
oh,
it's not trackable yet, but here it is.
Exactly. Yeah, like that's a huge, fuck up. And basically, over communication with the customer. Like, think about it. When you shop on Amazon, do you ever go to UPS website to check your status of your shipment? Never. They tell you, they work proactively. They tell you through notifications, through emails, through SMS, when if you have the mobile app, to notifications on that, when the product is going to arrive. And they are really good, when they deliver it with their own trucks, they're like 10 stops away, 5 stops away. Next stop is you, like that over communication is super helpful for the customers. And we basically send out all those notifications through email, through SMS, and the open rate and click-through rate on those emails beats out anything that's marketing, like 60%, 80%, 90% in some scenarios based on the product, click-through rates 40, 50, like huge. Like you can't compare it with anything. And those are great ways to re-engage with the customer, to maybe upsell something, maybe further tell your brand story. Like if you're buying like a couch, right? It's huge, like you might want to teach the person like, hey, or let's say a treadmill, right? Because now it's winter season, everybody's going to get treadmills, because we want to get back in shape or stay in shape.
Staring at a Peloton over here.
Receiving that Peloton is not that easy. You need to make room. You need like maybe a different circuit, because it's going to knock out your circuit breaker if you're pedaling too hard,
Well, it has to get used for that to happen. It's true. So what you're touching on is what our retailers need to understand is you can't have this rebranding if they're shopping on Amazon, because Amazon owns that customer. You need them we need option 3. We need to over communicate to these customers to win their business, to let them know we respect your needs. And if you do that, you now have a phone number for text marketing, an email, and the customer, the first party and 0-party data of that customer shopping on your site. So and now you have an own channel so that you can send your retargeting emails to win back that customer for that second purchase. But you're not going to get that second purchase if you take 10 days to get the item to the customer. Like Hydro Flask is a classic example. I wanted to, I love buying directly from brands to test them out. And I've used this example for years. It took them, they're up in Oregon, I'm in San Francisco, and it took them literally 10 days to send me some cups. I could have just gone and bought them local, or I could have just, I could have had them, but it didn't work. Stand
up. Look at this. The real customer experience actually starts after you purchase, not prior. Prior it's, I hope you're going to work out, benefit of the doubt. That's all you have. But after you purchase is when you demonstrate that you can ship the product fast, that you have the right product, that the product is good quality. And most important, regardless how great is the product, if you can't return that product, you will never buy from that brand if the return experience is crap.
Let's talk about the return experience.
Yeah.
What are your customers, you know, what separates them from the rest of the experience? How are you making it easier?
Sure. So have you read that book, Effortless Experience?
No. Should I add it?
Yeah.
I use Audible now, so.
Yeah, read that. I think that's the most important.
Isn't Audible an Amazon company?
Yeah, of course. You know what I do these days, you know, to actually not just read or listen to a book, but to study it. I buy the audiobook and then I buy the Kindle version. And while I read, I listen, because you're actually remembering more. And, you know, it's not just like a word, you know, you actually see it and listen to it and you see the chart. It's so much better. Anyways.
I was on a plane yesterday. I went down to LA and I was listening to an Audible book, but also playing cribbage on my phone.
That was very, you remember a lot.
It didn't work.
Yeah, so there's this book, it's called Effortless Experience. And what they say there, I forgot his name, Dixon something, whatever. And just make it insanely simple for the customer. And what the customers are looking for is self-service, the most of them, right? Like, I don't want to, I should just figure it out. So we have basically a quite good philosophy here at WeSupply. If the customer needs to open a ticket, it's a horrible experience. If they need to stay on the phone, horrible experience. If the customer needs service, but is behind the scenes with automation, with AI, whatever the thing is, you know, it's good. It's so much better. But the best experience is when you don't need customer service. Like, I'm an Amazon customer for I don't know how long. I never call them. I have Gmail for, not Gmail, but the entire G Suite, you know.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they have customer service, right? I'm using Apple. I never call them, ever. Never. There's no need for it. If I need to figure out how to do anything in Gmail, I just search and figure it out myself. Or they made it so easy that you can figure it out. Self-service is the most important. And that applies to returns as well. Like, what's worse than send us an email at this email address to start the return. And then you're like, hey, you know, you write up your email, I want to return this product. Then you forget the order number. They're like, okay, but you bought 2 products. Because you might say, I want to return the notebook. Yeah, but you got 2 notebooks. Which one? I don't know, the blue one. Well, they are both blue. You know, like, that's horrible.
Well, I don't own a printer.
I
don't own a printer.
Yeah. Well,
I hate ink. I hate paper. I try to live like a paperless life. And
yeah.
Oh, print out the packaging slip. It's like,
yeah. So the way we solve that, we have first offer the customers, you know, like an effortless, you know, like return experience, you know, self-service. You just go, just like buying. You select the products, the order, you select the products you want to return, the reason why you want to return it, how do you want to get refunded? Maybe you don't want the money back because it might take you 3 days for the money to hit the bank, you know, all that crap. You know, it might take a week until you have the funds again available. You might just want store credit that you can use right away to buy the new product right away before it sells out. You know, it's just so much faster, so much easier.
What about exchanges? Wrong size.
Yeah. So, wow, exchanges. Okay, now this is a controversial subject from my perspective. So, okay, exchanges are really cool and it's really hard to solve. It's not hard to solve it from a UX perspective. That's easy. It's much, much harder to solve it from accounting perspective. CFOs hate it. So we mostly work with bigger companies, you know, not like small D2C companies, but retail businesses. They process a lot of orders, you know, multi-million-dollar businesses. And they hate the entire concept of exchange from the book's perspective. It's really hard to make it straight, you know, like they want all the time, you want a return and a new order. And if you pay attention, if you go to most retailers, you go to Target, you go to Best Buy, you go to any other store. If you want to exchange, they are like, okay, just go grab the product. We do the return for this product and we purchase this new product. It's not because of the customer experience, that you can make it nice, but the backend financials is most of the time a nightmare. So there are ways to bypass that. But when you're talking integrations with complex ERPs, then it becomes really hard. And the bigger brand, the less they want exchanges.
You remind me so much of Travis, my co-founder, and also Ben Zweig, who handled all the warehouse distribution with our last company. It's like, I can tell you're passionate about this, and like it's retailing's brutal.
Yeah,
margins are just getting cut, and the exchanges and returns are one, you have to get them the right product first. You have to make sure you're shipping them the right product, and this is where businesses lose margin. It just kills the business. So it goes into this whole operational aspect of the business. There's so much that happens after someone hits click and buy.
The bigger the business, the more complex it is. Small company on Shopify, perfect. Exchanges can work. Shopify handles the basics. But when it's a huge enterprise, you have the ERP, it goes through sales audit, it goes through finance, it goes through like so many systems that has to match up perfectly in order for their data to be good. It's really hard, and most companies, they just can't do it. They are using some SAP or some other ERP system that just doesn't allow them, and to have the books clean. And for that reason, most of the bigger retailers don't really want exchanges in the sense of like, okay, I just exchanged the product and a new $0 product is passed through the system. And they want a very clean return, new order. And you can actually perfect that quite easily, because you can offer the customer like a gift card. If you go to Target, they always give you a gift card or whatever. And you use that gift card to place a new order. And at that point, they have very clean books. They have very clean logistics behind the scenes. All the systems match up. It's easy. But one-on-one exchanges, then you have like higher valued item, lower valued item.
Again, it goes into over communication too, and those emails going out post purchase, like, don't worry, we have you covered. It's this customer service, like over servicing the client to make sure they're happy. The Nordstrom's model, it's retail. Okay, so we've covered pre-purchase, during the purchase, shipping, returns, exchanges. Are we missing anything else? Any other key things here?
Well, depends. You have the curbside pickup. Now that's a nightmare again for most brands. So if you realize during pandemic, all the companies who never even tried store pickup and curbside pickup, they just said we do curbside pickup, and you arrived at the store and they had like a printed paper and it says call this number. And then, no, that was a horrible experience. You call the number, nobody answers. It's really bad, like really, really bad.
Harley Finkelstein from Shopify, he's been talking about, trends in the marketplace and this whole, e-commerce versus retail versus omni-channel and everything. And, we're really in this time where, like you pull up to Home Depot and they have special parking for online order pickup. E-commerce is moving into brick and mortar, like they're meshing together. And then we have all these marketplaces. It's such a unique time. Who could be like an inspirational, like give a client that our listeners could look at for like inspiration, who's kind of like figured it out or is like on the edge, like really, really kind of doing a great job at this right now?
For store pickup and curbside?
Just in general, either, any of these aspects of creating incredible customer experience.
So my top 3 favorite websites are who have like everything basically. Number 1 is REI, I just love REI. I love their products. I love everything they do. And I know they invested money, but they didn't invest the money that Target invested it. So that's why I love them the most. Like Target, the best, the absolute best curbside pickup experience. That's what we replicated as well. We kind of like stole the entire flow, like one-to-one basically. And they have like the best experience, but they invested who knows how much money, like multi-millions,
Yeah.
right? And it's really good, really, really good. What I love about REI is they achieved 99% the same experience, maybe not 100, but really, really close. Like when you arrive at the store, maybe they are not waiting outside, but you wait 1 minute. Like that's it. Like they are really fast, like really, really fast. And you can tell how they basically mesh together like various platforms and what they developed, you know, to put everything together, right? It just works, like really works. And the third one that I really like, okay, I'm quite old-fashioned here, but Best Buy, I think Best Buy is really good, like really, really good. And if I can put the worst experience on the list is Walmart. Wow, horrible. Or at least when I tested it, it was just not good. Like I waited 45 minutes.
Ooh.
For curbside, yeah. And I was like patient because I wanted to see how long it takes them. 45 minutes. I'm like, oh my God, these guys are never gonna deliver.
You know, it's one of those things that we talk about the customer experience when someone lands on your site and you're trying to understand their channel, whether or not they're a new visitor, or like maybe a repeat customer that you know has done curbside pickup in the past because you have their built their customer profile.
Well, that's the thing with curbside pickup and store pickup. Everybody just meshed it together. Like, oh, put up the, you know, the sign. Somebody's gonna call the store, and that's why curbside, from my perspective, never had a great adoption because the experience was just garbage for most of the retailer side. You know, they solved it with like a phone number, call this number. That's horrible.
Do you
And
think
we just had so many bad experiences that it never took off, you know, to the level that it was expected, or it died off when it was not really needed?
you think like the Instacarts partially kind of put an end to that because you don't even have to go pick it up. You have Instacart. Of course, you're paying a premium on everything, so it's not the greatest thing.
As long as Instacart can deliver something like a TV.
Hearing you talk about this experience, it makes me think that, you know, when someone arrives on your site, this is something that's, you know, we talk about, I've been following Donald Miller and the story brand and like really what to communicate, what your customers really want to hear. It's like, maybe when they land on your site, we should be leading with messages of, you know, here is our customer experience, like ethos, you know, or like, here's our values or something more simple of like, you know, buy today, get it tomorrow. Like, talking about, hey, if you find what you like here today, we're going to make sure we get this to you as quick as possible.
Yeah. Why do you think most websites have the return policies in the footer in a huge document that nobody reads? Or the shipping times is the same place in the footer somewhere hidden.
Yeah. Front and center.
Amazon puts it on the page. You know, it's right there. Buy it now, you receive it tomorrow. If you buy it in the next 5 minutes, add to cart. And by the way, the returns are whatever, free. And it's right there within the box, this small. They put all the info right there. But most websites put it in the footer because they are not sure about it.
So we mentioned, you know, REI, Best Buy, talking about things like communicating returns and all that. Is there anyone that you can think of that is up top of mind that is like, it's kind of like the Nordstroms of present day, other than Amazon? Obviously, you have customers using your shipping estimator. Do you have any other tools to like get that front and center? And obviously, we have our, you know, you mentioned working with Derek. You know, we're doing our strategic projects together in templates. But
so
putting you on the spot here.
Well, most of the companies, they do that, the estimated delivery, then over communicate at the end. The returns, they make it very seamless. By the way, for paperless return, like there's a great way with the QR code. You just go to Walgreens and, scan it, and they basically print it out for you. So you don't need the printer anymore. What was the question one more time?
I sometimes write down my questions I get asked because I just go on rants and then like come back to them. I'm like, wait, what did you ask me?
Am I on the subject, or I'm like talking?
We were talking about in-store pickup and REI and Best Buy, how they've, great experience that you even look to replicate and to build it at scale for everyone. Are there any other examples are that our audience can go look at to check out for inspiration themselves? Obviously, they can go to wesupply.labs.com to look at all your feature sets, but oftentimes it's great to see things in action.
Sure. So we work with a company from Canada. It's called London Drugs. It's quite funny because London from Canada.
And they're in Canada.
Yeah, but they're a huge multi-billion-dollar company. It's kind of like a CVS, if you can imagine, like ginormous. I visited them. Their warehouse was like five football fields put together. Oh my goodness, it was ginormous. Like for an hour, we just walked. It's a huge business. Now they do amazing store pickup, and because they are selling products similar to CVS, you can buy your diapers, your medicine, your whatever you need, your drugs from there. They have a huge variety, so it's kind of like like grocery store combined with the drugstore. They do on that side absolutely fantastic. Like the number of orders they are processing is ginormous, and that's where we help them through with that entire experience. Another company that I really like is one of our clients, Evereve. They're in the fashion industry. They have, if I remember correctly, 100 something stores as well, and they are savages. Honestly, they're crazy. They're so good at what they are doing, so good.
I mean, that's a lot of, when we were retailers, we would just, we'd look at like backcountry.com and burton.com to understand, it's inspiration. Like, what are they doing good and what can we do better?
Yeah.
Constantly looking.
About some of the companies that we work with, some of them have like huge ERP systems, that's like just massive corporation. But others, they're so good at like stitching things together, like so good. They buy like, $2,000-$3,000 products, like 4 of them, and they stitch it together so well that they basically achieve an ERP, like unbelievable. And, like we come on top of them, we integrate with everything, and we give a great front end to everything.
Well, we talk about MarTech stacks and like our partnerships, like you and I working together, our companies, we plug together our kind of power group of like, hey, this is the tech stack that is just going to actually work for you. And it's going to be super nimble, like scalable, affordable, kind of how Shopify came to be is, especially their plus, like we're building something so that you can actually grow your business and not be held up by, like with these big ERPs. I remember back in the day, it's like, it would take them, 3 weeks just to get us a quote back to do one small update to the software. And then
3 weeks is phenomenal.
Well, yeah.
Sometimes
like
half a year.
That's like 2005, like Counterpoint, Radiant Systems, it's like, because it's a shared code base. So if they're going to make a change, it's got to be throughout the whole system. And it'd be 10 times too much. So you had to build in-house to move fast. And now with all the apps you can add in, are there any, speaking of like MarTech stacks, what are We Supply Labs, what are your main e-commerce platforms that you integrate with?
Sure. So Magento is one of the biggest ones. Shopify, definitely huge. Why I mention Magento here more is usually we get bigger, more complex businesses. So they're not like D2C companies, or they can be D2C companies, but they are like a D2C company for, like 30 years ago. It's like an established business. They have like huge distribution. It's major businesses.
With Adobe making that acquisition, Adobe does a lot if you go to their site, they talk a lot about personalization and customer experience. So that would align pretty well with probably.
Yeah, but why most of these companies are choosing, a platform like Magento? Shopify is phenomenal. I think Shopify is by far the future. Did you see what they launched today? Like the real-time view of Black Friday.
Well, Harley's been
They launched
posting.
taxation like 2 weeks ago again. I'm like, man, you guys are just building. It's the future. So there's no comparison to that.
So on that note, talking about brick and mortar, because like I said, we're looking, today is what, November 18th, 2022.
Yep.
So just the last 3 days on LinkedIn, Harley's just been heavy posting all about point of sale, in store, brick and mortar, moving heavy into that, which then aligns with in-store pickup, everything. We are seeing this post-pandemic shift back to brick and mortar. Websites are seeing less traffic. It's not going to go away, but the experience of the brick and mortar is changing. And that on-site experience and brick and mortar offsite we're going to have to continue to find a way to mesh together. And that's where we're talking about, when you're on a site, inform them where that brick and mortar store is, so they can just run and pick it up.
So about, when I used to work in retail, that was like 5-6 years ago when I ended my career there. And at that point, there was a huge change, towards online. And at that point, we were talking about the purpose of retail, because we had like at that point, whatever, 80, close to 100. And at this point, there are like 300 stores or something. And concept was the following. The stores slowly but surely are going to transform into a showroom. It's where you go, you try on your product, you look at them, you touch them, you smell them, you feel them, if you buy running shoes, you run on the treadmill there a bit. I can feel you're into snowboarding, you try your boots on, you jump a little bit in them, they mold it for you. It's kind of like a showroom experience. But if they don't have the size for you, they can ship it from a different store. They can ship it from their warehouse. They can ship it from their dropshipper, wherever they can ship it from. But it's more for the experience side. I think the retail is going to stay for. It's not going to be the place where you're going to go and do 100% of your shopping. It's where you go to experience the product. Or when you need, a microphone right now, you go there and buy it. So that's going to be a huge change. Now, what's the biggest problem from my perspective is there's a in-store experience and there's a web experience. So we basically have a solution where we merge the two together. So for some of our retailers, we actually import POS orders as well. So you buy something in store, you pay with your credit card or cash or whatever you pay. We import that order. And when you look up your order in our system, you can see, just like at Target, you can see your in-store purchases, your online purchases. You can take that in-store purchase, return it online. You might go somewhere, let's say you visit me, right? You come on the East Coast, you go and buy yourself some jeans, you try them on. They don't fit you perfectly well, but you already are in the hotel room, you have your airplane bag. You don't have the chance to go back to the store to return it. And they don't have coverage, on the West Coast in California, where you're from. What are you going to do? You're not going to return the product? Most likely not. But if you merge the two experiences together, if you just go on the website and you type in your phone number or your email address, and you are able to access your account, without the password, so easy to make it today. And double, two-factor verification. You get into your account, you see the product that you purchased in store, and you can return it online by just, I don't like it, it was too large, whatever, I don't like the fit. They generate the label. They don't generate the label because you don't have a printer. They generate the QR code. And you go to CVS when you have the time, and you just drop off, those pants, and you get your money back. That's the experience that the retail and e-commerce has to achieve, that unified experience. And, it's not easy. It's not easy to import from 200 stores daily orders in almost real time, there are a
Dude,
bunch of sales happening at the store
I
location.
mean, I'm smiling because you're inspiring me, because we're still so early into what's being built for e-commerce and retail.
Totally.
There's still so much innovation and technology and needs. Like, there's so many problems to solve for this experience. And, we're still, I'm curious. I haven't even heard the most recent statistic of where online shopping is compared to brick and mortar. It's the pandemic spiked it up to finally broke 20%, I think, but curious where we are. But this whole there's still so much to build. And as we finish up here today, I've two questions for you. The first is, you mentioned, you've talked about your history in retail and all, warehouses as far as the eye can see, and as many of them. Do you miss managing inventory?
No, no, inventory is nightmare. Oh my God. We even had at that point, back in the days, like PI, physical inventory count, that took like 3 days, that the entire thing was shut down, a huge warehouse. And oh my God, don't even tell me. And after 3 days, you started shipping out the products. And we did that like once or twice a year because it was so disastrous. I hope since then they fixed that entire inventory. No, it's nightmare. It's nightmare. There's technology, like you can put like RFID chips and you can just go with the scanner and you just do this and it scans the entire inventory. But, nobody has the time to put it on. Nobody wants to pay for the IDs to put them on. That's cool when you're getting it from the manufacturer, but in real life, it's hard. Inventory is hard.
Well, and then you have your purchase orders and maybe the right things don't get shipped to you, but they get checked in. And so now your inventory is off from the start.
Yeah. Or the inventory is in the warehouse on a pallet sitting there. Oh,
yeah. So, yeah. when we were finished our retail business, and Travis and I were trying to figure out what to build next, it was like, well, one thing for sure is I don't ever want to see inventory again.
But let me tell you the cool thing of that. So this is what I love the most. That was my favorite day, probably of the year, after Black Friday, Cyber Monday. That Monday you go into the warehouse and you see the boxes and you see how much web generated, because basically in 2 days, like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, that weekend, we used to generate 1 month worth of sales, huge, like ginormous sales, and you walk in there and you see, like, you have that physical sensational experience of seeing like boxes of products there and hundreds of warehouse workers working on your orders, that that your strategy drove that. It just makes your heart this big.
It's fun. Stuff those UPS trucks.
So cool. Yeah, and the truck is too small and they have to send another one.
There's so many logistical efficiencies you can continue to improve, and you can build software to make it move even smoother. There's so much cool stuff. So with that goes in my last question is, as we finish this year out, we move into 2023, where do you feel the biggest improvements and opportunities and kind of progress that's happening
of what we're working on? So I think there's ginormous opportunity in same-day deliveries, ginormous. And if you think about it, if you order something and it's going to be delivered in the next 30 minutes, 2 hours, you don't have customers asking, where's my order? The customer is willing to pay for shipping. They don't want free shipping. They understand you want it in the next 2 hours. Okay, it's going to cost you $10, $15. So you recover the free shipping. You don't have mad customers. You deliver a phenomenal experience. The customer is so happy of their experience because it's instant gratification, right? I think that is a huge, 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 huge opportunity. And we have the infrastructure behind the scenes. If you think about it, you have Instacart, you have DoorDash, you have Uber, you have many, 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 many other companies, that operate as gig economies, who can just take orders and deliver it in the next 10, 15 minutes.
Ooh, interesting. Interesting.
So that's what we're working on, launching
Drones really haven't come to be with
Huh?
that. Remember all the conversation how drones were going to deliver everything? We're just too far from that.
Do you want things fly above you with
No, hell no.
like boxes of like, I don't know, weights? My dumbbells are flying in.
Yeah.
Maybe the battery dies and it hits, a pedestrian. No,
Yeah, we could rap for a while. Like even hearing what you're saying, my product thinking and experience thinking right now is that websites should be presenting reviews of their shipping experience and their return experience, not just product experiences, but the actual company should have those reviews front and center. Like shipping, like I'm gonna think about that.
that's on our, oh my God, you have like such great questions. I swear that's on our backlog for like the past 2 years. We just never reached it because we have the company info of like how long it takes for a box to ship it. It's just we never got there.
You can access that data too. People respond to data. Like 75% of shoppers receive this item within 48 hours to validate. Like, okay, they're backing up with
Especially coming from a
marketing.
third-party company that analyzes the data.
Yeah.
So we have that trust. It's not they make it up.
Nothing drives me more nuts than when like on the product page it says easy returns and then it's not clickable. It's nothing. It's just like this little like thing. It's like, well, educate me.
It's easy if you have patience.
Yeah. Well, Virgil, thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Great things. And obviously we supply-labs.com. Are you in the app stores?
Yeah, we're on the Shopify, Magento, BigCommerce App Store. Salesforce coming soon.